Welcome, everyone, to Career Happy Hour. I'm Andrew Beach. I'm an executive coach. I'm a teacher of self-education. I help professionals like you communicate value to find great opportunities faster, whether you're working or not. That's through a pragmatic process of branding, planning, and effective networking, generating double your salary inside of 90 days. That's what I did for one of my clients. I was actually excited about that, and I celebrate with her frequently that fact. And so for those who know me, great. Welcome back. For those who are here your first time, this is a community. And so let's go through some of the ideas here in terms of the standards, if you will, about how we're going to operate this particular community. And that is, if you're here, welcome. You're under no obligation to participate. If you want to keep silent, that's fine. But most of us are here to network. And one of the ways we can help each other network with each other is to actually put your LinkedIn profile in the comments or the chat. So by doing so, putting your LinkedIn profile there, you're signaling to other members of this network, of this community, that you are open to them reaching out to you and you will say yes when they ask to have a conversation offline to practice what we preach. And that is that, hey, most of our opportunities come through informal social contact called networking. Also, in order to expand our reach, we need to grow this community. That means any small effort you can take to share this event out with other people and get them engaged is worthwhile. I want you to do that. Just right now, if you look down, I think in the bottom somewhere on the screen here, I'm doing this for the second time actually through the events page on LinkedIn. So I don't see the spot there where it says share, but I think I had a problem with that last time. But I think what you can do is you can actually go to the URL and copy it and then paste it over into your social networks. I don't know why there is not a share button on the event page. I just can't seem to find it. Maybe it's because I'm the one hosting it that I don't get to see, oh, there is a share event link. I don't know if that'll work for you, but you should have a share event link. But share this broadcast out, get people engaged. I know people have been, when I set it up a week in advance. So at the end of this session today, I will actually put next week's Career Happy Hour on the events pages of LinkedIn. And I would encourage you to invite others to show up because I'm here to do a couple of things. One, support you as best I can by answering your questions. And two, if you want to come on live, you can. There is a link in the description to do that. I will also put it in the chat here in just a moment because sometimes, that link is hard to come by. So I will put that in the chat here on LinkedIn, and then I will also put that on the chat for the rest of the channels that we are broadcasting on. So I will put in here, join me live at this link. Okay, good. That would be joining live. So if you want to join live, that's great. You can come into I call it the green room. It's a private chat. So if you do have a question, you would actually want to use that particular link that you see in the description or in the chat that I just put up there. Use that link, come in the back and say, hey, Andrew, I have an anonymous question. If you would please answer this question, great. Because I recognize that some people come here and they don't want other people knowing that they're looking, right? This is the year of the great resignation, I guess. I don't quite know what that means. There's always been movement in the employment marketplace. It just might be people have enough courage to do it now. And they didn't before the pandemic hit, and they started realizing things about themselves that they didn't know before. And so there's some exciting things that happened this week. I don't know what happened, but the graphics changed on me. Let me see if I can fix that here in some way. Because I had different graphics here before. There, is that better? I like that one better, don't you? Or do you like the rounded one? Let's try that one. That looks kind of nice. But I have to admit, I do like this lower one here. But there is a link in the description. If you want to come on live, please, by all means, go ahead and do that. But generally speaking, you would put in the comments section of whatever platform you're joining from, you would put your questions in there. And I'm happy to answer them. Happy to answer them. So one thing that did happen this week that I have been anticipating would happen forever actually did happen. And so if you follow me, you might have seen that already posted. Let me get to that spot right now. Where'd it go? Oh, I think it was an email. I might have to go back to my emails here. Sorry about that, and find this email. Oh no, actually I posted it to my profile. So I'll just go to my profile and pull it up. And then I'll share my screen and I'll show you what I'm talking about here. Here we go. Let me get to the right article. There we go. Okay. So here it is. Okay, share screen. Share screen. There we go. And I'll bring it up live. Here we are. That's not the one I want. I want this one. Thank you very much. Okay. So it's been a long time coming, but I think some of you may have remembered LinkedIn's user interface changed, I think about a little over 2 years ago, maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago. Their interface changed. And so it became a more mobile friendly interface. And this makes a lot of sense. A lot of tech companies are going with a, how would you call it? A mobile first interface or something like that, where the development is not predicated on the platform. That's why a lot of companies are not using apps on iPhones or Androids anymore. They're doing a web interface. So I don't know what the name of that technology is, but I've seen it all over the place. And that makes sense to me. And so LinkedIn is going down that road with their apps on a mobile device. But in so doing, what I didn't like about the new user interface is it was all white. It was stark white. It was blur. It was blasting my eyes. I had to get the blue blockers. And not that I'm complaining, but, for those of us that are information workers and we spend a fair amount of time in front of the computer, it can be rather, how would you say, irritating. And so I was happy to hear this week, LinkedIn introduced dark mode. And for those of us who are in front of the computer, this is huge. So how would you go about adjusting that? Well, you would go into your account preferences under display and make that a reality. So let me go there now. Hopefully the link is here. Yep, it's still here. And so I will put that in the comments section of the stream here. And then I think I'll have to go back to the events page to put it there, but you can come to this particular setting, P settings / dark -mode, and you'll get that setting. So when I click on that, here's the cool part. It's right now, you see it's all white with black text, but check this out. As soon as I go to dark mode, oh my word, huge difference. I have to admit, I really like the dark mode on most things. I do that on my YouTube. I do it on my different social networks. So I'm glad to see LinkedIn has finally come into the 2000s. Just kidding. And that they now have dark mode. And this is no small thing, to be honest. This is going to mean a lot of different things for a lot of people. But I just like it. I like the dark mode. And so if it's okay with you, I'm going to broadcast today's live stream with the dark mode on. And we'll see how it goes. Let me make this text a little bigger, though. That's perfect. Okay. So that was the big news this week. Nothing exceptionally exciting. Most areas of the country, at least in the United States, kids are back to school. The next holiday we have to look forward to here in the United States is Labor Day. I only bring this up is because sometimes people do a staycation. And just when you think they might be leaving town, they don't. And so Monday, these, off holidays, people might be home doing absolutely nothing but relaxing. And it's not a bad opportunity for each one of us to reach out to and reconnect with people in our inner circle. As you know, I'm an advocate of the networking. And what that means is this is a chance for you to network, with people that are available. And not always are people available. I think that's the interesting part. But now, because of the pandemic, and we've talked about this from the onset on Career Happy Hour, is that people are still isolated. People are still thirsting for connection. People are still anxious. I mean, these are still prevalent feelings in the marketplace because many of us are still work from home, and me included. And so if that's you, and you know what I'm talking about, then when people reach out to you, say yes. I mean, don't be worried. I've had network meetings with hiring managers that are in a hoodie, and another one was in a ski vest, like they just come off the mountain. It wasn't like you have to dress up, although it probably could help, but it's an opportunity for you to connect with people. And that's the value of this platform, honestly, of LinkedIn, is you get a chance to meet with, talk to, invest time in building relationships that matter. And no, it's not going to be perfect. And no, not everyone's going to say yes. In fact, most people might say no, and be okay with that. They're just not ready for that, or they're not prepared, or they're not in a headspace to do it. It happens to me all the time. It's not a big deal. So sometimes we make it a big deal because, we don't have enough numbers. We maybe reach out to one or two people a week and we expect them both to say yes to a meeting, and none of them do. And so therefore we say, networking just doesn't work. Doesn't work. I tried it once. I tried it twice and both times it didn't work out. Well, try it several hundred times, several thousand times, and then you tell me whether or not it works. And I can assure you that most of the conversations don't go anywhere, nor do they lead to anything. I know it's frustrating. It's kind of like being in commission-based sales. You're going to get a lot of people say no, but that's okay. I'm expecting people to say no. I'm just waiting for, at some point, my presentation leading to somebody saying yes. That's the idea. That's the objective, folks. So let me get back. Sorry, I got to get back to my events page here. If I've got it up somewhere, I would be shocked. Well, maybe I don't have it up somewhere. Yeah, no, I don't. So how about that? Me, the one that's supposed to be prepared, can't even find his event page. Well, let me close these because they're not in the dark mode. I want the dark mode. So, okay, here we go. I'll come back to the career happy hour events page. Hopefully I end up on the right one. There we go. Yes, I am on the right one. Let me see if this works. Yeah, there we go. All right, I got it. I got it into the chat on the events page. And for whatever reason, the chats showing up on LinkedIn are not showing up in the chat on the restream on my side. So I guess I will stop putting things in that chat box. Good. Hey, Terry, good to see you. The basement lounge. Hopefully you're hunkering down for the rainstorms that are coming, because the basement lounge, I hope you have good drainage. That's all I'll say on that one. Good. Cleon Cox, excellent. The venerable Cleon Cox, distinguished Toastmaster, is here. Thank you for attending, Cleon. Good to see you as well. I don't see any other people here, but it looks like we have 5 people, many of which are lurking in the background, so that's fine. I don't mind you lurking. If you do want to come on live, I put the link in the description and also in the comments section where the chat is happening, and you can come on live if you want to do so. More than willing to do that. Excellent. Good drainage is always a positive thing. In fact, that's pretty much all I've done to my house over the summer. Fortunately, we had some good weather to get some grading done properly and that sort of thing. Yard therapy. I don't know what it is about yard therapy. Yard therapy for me is a way to disconnect and reconnect at the same time. So maybe that's a good topic here. Self-care. Not uncommon that some of us overlook the self-care and the little things that make a difference. Like taking time out to go have a cocktail with a friend, or maybe just hit a happy hour with the family or the spouse. Maybe just going for a walk. Sometimes a walk is good self-care, getting some fresh air, breathing, box breathing. Do a little, how would you call it? Google search on box breathing. box breathing. I think what you'll find is that often we get calmed down just by injecting more oxygen into our body. And so this idea, these thoughts around self-care are something I've been really thinking about because I see a lot of people struggling. And it's one of the reasons they're wanting to leave organizations is because they can't cope often with the situation or the circumstances they're engaging with. Watching an old movie. Hey man, I thought you were here at Career Happy Hour, Terry. That's kind of uncharacteristic of you to be engaged in that way. So good. I'm going to get to the news here in just a moment. I'm going to move that down there because I want to be able to see the chats. For whatever reason, they're not coming through on the restream side of things. And so let's jump right into the news if we can. I don't want that up there. What did that go up there for? Sorry, folks. Technical difficulties on my side. Nothing for you to worry about. I just want to be able to see the chat. There it is. And so let's get into the news. Oh, wow. Yeah. So, I mean, here's, I'm just suggesting ideas. Oh yeah. Self-care ideas. Absolutely. Watching an old movie. Yeah. I mean, I just saw broadcast, I think, or advertised. I don't know if it was on, it must've been on Amazon, but they had the 9, you could buy the digital version of Fast and Furious, all 9 movies. And I've already got the 7 movies, which I think are the best ones anyway. Because after Paul Walker passed, it just hasn't been the same. And so I don't know if I want the other 2 movies. So I already got the others on Blu-ray. So yeah, doing a movie, one of my friends had a movie marathon. Yeah, I think that's what it was. It was a movie marathon. And they do that as a family thing every year. Every year right before school starts. And so they do that over the weekend right before school starts. So good deal. If you have any questions, for sure, put those in the comment section. Happy to answer. So let's get into the news here. Let me get to the right spot so I can share my screen. Sorry about that. I had to. There we go. Share my screen. And then we'll go right into this one. All right. So here's what's on the docket for today by Kelly Nguyen. Thank you, Kelly. Adult tantrums are all the rage. I guess whatever it takes for us to be vulnerable and honest with each other, if it takes a tantrum, it takes a tantrum. It's undoubtedly been a stressful 18 months, for some longer. And with the ever-changing pandemic pushing many to their breaking point, still increasing numbers of adults are throwing tantrums, writes the Wall Street Journal. Isn't it interesting that every time I share the news, they're quoting 2 sources? It's like the Wall Street Journal or it's Bloomberg, and both of those have paid services in order to access those stories. But I digress. There must be some kind of arrangement there where they get affiliate income or something. But let's get back to the story. Both in the privacy of their homes and publicly on airplanes, at restaurants, and more. It's a huge problem for frontline workers who have had to face the wrath of patrons lashing out over mask and vaccine mandates. 80% of food service workers say they have seen or dealt with hostility over virus measures. So, I mean, I don't know if you've run into this, but I have seen people be a little inconsiderate, lose their manners, lose their mind. But I've also seen people not approach it in the most effective way. What can we learn from this? That the soft skills still matter. Exercise empathy, compassion, understanding. Dig in. What do I mean by dig in? Dig into how to improve yourself so that when you see these situations, you know how to respond. Because just recently there was a road rage incident in my neighborhood, not too far from here, probably less than, 3 miles from me. A road rage incident where 2 people pulled over, both pulled weapons, and one shot and killed the other. So it was not something that I wanted to see in my neighborhood. And so there's consequences for what we're being put through as part of the work from home pandemic situation. Yeah. No, I'm not impressed with adults having public tantrums, but I know why it's happening. And some people don't feel heard or seen. Some people don't feel like they have an outlet. And so convenient target. And that's true. That's true of anything really that happens in the workplace all the time. It just doesn't happen as frequently and as with much, how would you say it, public attention as it is happening now. Hence the phrase Karen, right? There's a lot of Karens out there. I don't know if that's something I believe in, but what I do know is that we can all serve to be peacemakers. And part of the way we do that is if we see situations like this, that we do our best, if we can, to diffuse them and recognize that people are going through some stuff. And the stuff that they're going through is maybe different than the stuff you are going through. And using your effective judgment, you will have an opportunity to be the bigger person. And, you know, honestly, I think this might be impacting people's capabilities to perform on the job. That, hey, you know what, if I'm having these experiences, if I'm having a certain isolation experience at home, and then I'm having a certain, how would you call it, conflict centric experience out in the public, I'm now bringing that back to work. I'm now seeing it on the social media. And so sometimes I think that the lesson might be for me is that disconnecting from some of these sources of information for a period of time. Had a client I met with today that says something very interesting that I'd never heard of, and that was screen-free Saturday. Screen-free Saturday. Could we initiate a screen-free Saturday, or one day a week where no screens, no technology, no nothing? And I thought, you know what, that for self-care, I couldn't think of a better thing to try out. You know, maybe just try it between the box breathing and the screen-free Saturday. Yeah, you might actually feel like a better and different person. And so maybe give that a shot. What else do we have here? Sorry, I'm late. Life just happened. Let's see what this one is. Gianna Prudente. Sometimes things happen out of our control. Isn't that normal? Isn't that life? We've seen this more than ever with remote work, from children crashing Zoom meetings to bad weather taking out our home Wi-Fi. Now some of us are venturing back to the office, but life will continue to keep us on our toes. LinkedIn member Kristen Olson Cott, who recently arrived late to work because her daughter needed a hug at school, says employers have to lead with empathy because real life matters most. So here's the biggest challenge that I think now that we're back to school that we're going to see is that there's going to be, and I don't want to call it extreme responses. I think there's going to be response, positive or negative, to teachers getting COVID. What are the mitigation strategies? How is that going to work? What is the notifications being provided to the parents of those kids? What are the options? What does quarantine look like? How are we going to bring in a substitute? Do you think this isn't going to impact people on the job? It is. And we need to be conscious that, hey, you know, as we're making transitions from work to work from home and work from home back to work, and we keep going back and forth because it appears like, hey, we're getting better, pandemic is going away. Oh, no, it's not. And then it comes back again and we get these different waves. It's going to be constant disruption. And I don't, you know, this is a hamster wheel that a lot of people I'm talking to don't want to be a part of. And so it might mean that people just decide to quit. And if organizations and the people in them, truthfully, organizations are just groups of people. If the groups of people inside organizations are not exercising this idea of, and I say empathy in action. Empathy in action would be, you know what, it's not a problem. Take however much time you need. We'll be here for you. You know, if that kind of situation comes up. And, you know, it comes up. It's going to happen. as we go back to work and back to school and all these things happen. A lot of people that have been work from home or isolated for now 18 months are going back to the communities for the first time. Maybe they're vaccinated. Great. Good on you. And, I think a lot of people come in with overconfidence that vaccination means they're not going to get sick ever from this virus. And that's not true. And so there's things to consider as you go back to work and back into the environment, that we're exercising caution and not paranoia, and that people are treated with dignity and respect, regardless of what side of the column you might fall on. So that's just my interpretation. And so the other reminder here, just once again, if you have a compelling presentation or a compelling post that you make on LinkedIn, the editors will pick it up and they'll actually broadcast it on the LinkedIn news. And that's what happened with Kristen. And so what does that do for you? Well, as a member of LinkedIn, you now are being presented on the homepage, the home feed of everybody's profile as the key person in this article. And that will get you exposure. That will get you people outreaching to you. That will get you opportunity. There's no doubt in my mind. You will have opportunities presented to you because you put together a compelling post like this one. And you can see here some characteristics of compelling posts that I've seen on this platform is that there's white space. Well, in this case, dark space, but there's, there's a narrative. There's a yarn that you can spin. And you can now see here, almost 10,000 people have reacted to it, and over 1,000 people have commented. Do you think that's going to get profile views? Yes, that's going to get profile views. Do you think that people will reach out to her to have a network meeting or to interview her for an opportunity? And the answer is yes, if that hasn't happened already. Okay. If anything, for writing a great story. Let's see. Zillow latest to loosen work from home pay rules. Interesting. Okay, let's see what Zillow is doing. Zillow is the latest company to loosen its rules. Thank you, Andrew Murfitt, for writing this, or at least sharing this. For its now largely remote workforce, the real estate site's chief people officer, Dan Spalding, declared in a LinkedIn post. See how this works, folks? You make a LinkedIn post, editors like Andrew Murfitt might actually put it on the homepage of LinkedIn for you. Okay. That staff compensation package will be largely tied to the role, responsibilities, and performance. Amen. However, if your role, responsibilities, and performance don't lead to a pay that can actually meet the needs of the amount of money it costs to live somewhere, then you're putting those people at in a vulnerable position. So I don't think you can do this in a vacuum. I think the challenge becomes is, hey, rightfully so, is if you have companies paying Bay Area, Silicon Valley wages, and you're living in, Kentucky, then your cost of living just went down by a factor of 5, and your income didn't change. And I can see how that's attractive to somebody. Absolutely. And certainly that's not something that isn't being considered by everyone who's working from home right now. I can assure you that people are making decisions on where they want to live and how they want to live during this time. And so it's not uncommon that would happen. But I like that, hey, it's a focus on performance, and that your income, honestly, should never go down. I think it should always go up as long as you're adding value to the organization. That's me. I'm not in total rewards. I don't know that side of the business just yet, but I can assure you, I understand the concept of total rewards. And, there's just a certain way you would treat a human being with your rewards program. The move comes as geography-based pay rates become an increasing point of tension for companies allowing remote work. That's because there's many people, typically in the finance and accounting area, doing analysis. And, I think that's great. Do that for your properties. Okay. Release some of your real estate. Do it for the things you have, not for the people you lead. It's sending a terrible message and creating a culture that you might not want to have around or be around. So think about that as you're working with these different firms or you're looking to interview at companies. Ask them what their work from home policy is. How are they handling the compensation? Are they doing geographic based pay? What does that look like? And make sure you're negotiating something that's good for you when you get to these crossroads. And be prepared. In fact, I would be proactive in that case. If I did or was considering a move into geography, I would make it well known and very transparent to my organization that I'm working for that I intend to do these things and I don't expect my pay to go down. Can we negotiate that in writing? In writing, I want to work from home policy. I want to work from home arrangement. I want to be on equal footing with you this way, meaning, hey, I want to be upfront, transparent, honest, and not be doing these kind of conversations by text message or a Dear John email saying I took a job in another country because, or I quit. So let's be cognizant of the people that we're working for, that we don't want to burn any bridges if we can cross them. Okay, let's see. Zillow top finfluencers. Well, that's a new word. Never heard that one before. Anyone else? Let's see. Top finfluencers are making bank. It's time to smash the like button. Wall Street influencers, Wall Street influencers are descending on the finance industry, bringing their band of followers and notching lucrative brand deals along the way. One so-called finfluencer says he makes more than $500K working with brands, consulting companies, and post finance videos on TikTok. $500K. Social media has opened the door between the seemingly stiff finance world and previously hard to reach younger customers. Bloomberg reports. I just mentioned Wall Street Journal and Bloomberg earlier. Anyhow, but some warn it could also lead to fraudulent content and misinformation. Yeah, that's interesting. So maybe we need to read this Bloomberg article and see what this is all about. But it's not uncommon that once you build a following on social media, people come to advertise with you because you're an influencer. In this case, it's financial services. So, it's not uncommon that any industry would want to have that. So if you as an organization aren't involved in those things, you probably might want to consider it as part of your go-to-market strategy. For those of us looking for work, what does this mean? It means that we can gain exposure in places we least expect it. And although you might have an opinion about TikTok, here's somebody on TikTok making $500,000 a year. So not that will last forever. It probably won't, but we shouldn't diminish the value of a platform in reaching people. That's the point. The point is LinkedIn might be, the place to be right now for professionals, but it may not be in 5 or 10 years, maybe less, so don't be afraid of these different social channels and see what you can do to interact and be a part of those different social networks, those different social media platforms that works for you. You don't have to follow 100% of the guidelines there, or the you want to be aware of how things are done on that network. Like, for instance, LinkedIn, it's like, hey, it's a professional network. We're not going to post cat videos here. Thank God. But if you want to post cat videos, you do that on Facebook. If you want to lip sync to a Rolling Stones, song, you can do that on TikTok. Absolutely. You could probably do it on Instagram too, but anyway. Each platform is an access or a conduit to people you don't know that might be their primary method of communication. Even though they're on LinkedIn, even though they're on Facebook, they spend all their time and they collaborate with people on Instagram. It happens, right? So our objective isn't to say that one is better than another or one works better than another. The objective is how can I meet the people I need to meet regardless of where they reside and what is their preferred communication tool. That's how we get in front of people. Good. So what's next here? Let's see. Give coworkers you dread a reset. No, thanks. Being man enough at work. Can Apple make Peloton sweat? What is Apple up to? Let's see what it says. Thank Jake Perez. Apple is making more inroads in connected fitness and is starting to make a play for Peloton. Interesting. Well, I'm sure they got a lot of cash, Business Insider reports the tech giant gave its trainers a spotlight during its iPhone 13 launch event, positioning them as more approachable than Peloton celebrity trainers such as Robin Arzon and Cody Rigsby, who was just tapped to compete on Dancing with the Stars. Meanwhile, Smart Gym Tonal is taking a page from Peloton's playbook, announcing it'll start streaming live classes with new coaches next month. Fascinating to me. I mean, if and now companies like 24 Hour Fitness and others are filing bankruptcy, so it's interesting how things have changed since the beginning of the pandemic. That this idea of connected fitness and being in the place that people are and getting in their way that way, I think is fascinating. And good on Apple. I mean, I think Apple's been doing this kind of thing for a long time. They just haven't had it, I think, be a core strategy for them. So I think that's interesting that they're going down that path. So what could be a need in Apple or other organizations to deploy this kind of technology? Because let's assume for the moment that Peloton is the market leader. What is it going to take to beat Peloton? Not to match Peloton, but to beat Peloton at their own game. And it might be that, hey, and Peloton's diversifying. I think I've sensed that. Used to be just the bike, but now it's a bunch of other things. So how can you be more agile and more effective than Peloton? And so that might mean you have some expertise in marketing that these people need. You have some expertise in integrating technology and services. So a tech or a hardware purchase combined with services. Maybe you're good at doing financial projections and how do we make sure that the fees we're charging actually provide a return on investment. So whatever it is, see how you can operate on some of these, activate and engage on some of these stories that we're sharing in order to be seen as a resource to help people execute. Solving problems, right? So how is Apple going to beat Peloton? Well, they could, I guess, acquire Peloton. They have enough cash. Or they could just beat Peloton at their own game. And that's kind of been the philosophy of organizations like Facebook. When Facebook bought Instagram and they put in stories, that was a direct competitor to Snapchat. So, I mean, I see that sometimes it's through acquisition. Other times it's through, you know what, we're just going to deploy the same technology on our own. Good. Warby, others bet on Brick. On Brick and Click. Oh, that's interesting. Warby Parker. The direct-to-consumer model was all the rage until some of its biggest success stories decided, wait a second, we need stores to fuel growth. I see that, the Amazon stores too. What do they put their top-rated products or their most sold products in a store? I mean, that's genius. Take Warby Parker, purveyor of sleek eyewear, and shoemaker Allbirds, both prepping for public debuts. They're betting on big on real estate, and they should. Right now, I'm guessing retail space is dirt cheap, or at least it could be had for dirt cheap, because people aren't maybe going to stores anymore. And so retail is an organization or an area where, the real estate should be cheap. And the trajectories could shape the path ahead for other online first companies. The store route is definitely an added cost, but analysts say the online only models are only good for so long, and brick and mortar is still the best channel for new business. I think the one I saw recently that was most intriguing is Toys R Us. I think are they doing something with Target? I don't remember, but they're going to have these little concept stores. And I like the concept store philosophy where you have a store within a store. And so the toys, maybe you take a couple of Walmarts or something and all the toys section is managed by this Toys R Us contractor or store within a store kind of concept. That way, hey, you take up a small area of the store. You don't have to buy the real estate. You just have a strategic contract. That to me seems lower risk than actually acquiring real estate. But who's to say that, this concept of, what is it? Airbnb. Maybe there's Airbnb for retail real estate that, hey, I need a pop-up store. I see this a lot, at least in our area. There's a thing called the Halloween store. I don't know if you guys have seen this. I don't remember what it's called, Halloween Central or Halloween store. But they're only out there from, like now until October 31st. and they rent these empty spaces for, I don't know how much money. And they put up their pop-up store and they sell these, Halloween items. And then, come November, they're gone. So they're only occupying that store for maybe 2 or 3 months, a month to set up, a month and a half to sell, and a month to break it down. So what are they doing their other 9 months out of the year with this real estate? What about Christmas trees? So maybe I could back end that. I'm just thinking out loud, going through some things. But if there's a progression there, there's a business opportunity. Sometimes we need to think a little more entrepreneurially, and that's what I'm encouraging you to do here when it comes to our careers. Of course, folks, if you have questions, please put those in the comments. If there's something related to your career that you want to discuss, resume, interviewing, networking, market planning, that sort of thing, confident communication, identifying target companies. Why aren't people looking at my resume? That sort of thing. I mean, I'm okay answering just about any question regarding career that you have. Let's see here. Undiscussed discrimination. This is interesting. At work. Despite a heightened dialogue about the importance of inclusion at work, most Latino professionals say they're unsupported. Of Latino professionals between 18 and 34, that is so young. So young. 60% say they have been overlooked or intentionally passed over for career advancement opportunities because of their race. I'd be interested to talk to those 60% and ask them how do they know that, but I digress. Many Latinos say a lot of this discrimination is due to colorism, the system of inequality that is based on the lightness or darkness of someone's skin. Fascinating. I mean, I'd like to see the science or the research behind that. And you know what? Honestly, if I felt that I was discriminated in that capacity, I would certainly either leave that organization or I'd sue it if I felt so inclined. But that's just me. Oh, it was a survey on LinkedIn. Okay, let's check out the survey, folks, and let's see what we come up with. Working together, the often ignored discrimination. Where's the survey? Impact of colorism in the workplace. Okay, so I mean, I guess the thing to think here is to have the pulse on listening. And as an organization, we want to listen to our people. And if they're feeling that way, what do you do about it? I mean, you come up and listening's part of it, but then you have to put something into action to make people feel included and feel like they belong. So anyway, that's the news that's fit to print, folks. And since I don't see any questions here. Oh, thank you, Tracy, for sharing that. 31 empathetic statements for when you don't know what to say. Yes, thank you. I do appreciate you sharing that very much. Very much. I appreciate that. Good. So I don't have anything else to share, really. If you have questions, certainly put those in the chat. If you want to share the broadcast out, I'll post up the next one and you can share it out. I'll look at all the people that attended this one and add them back to the next one for next Friday, 3:00 Pacific time. Every Friday, 3:00 Pacific time, we are here to support you. And so if you can, come. If you can't, share it out and invite people and let them know I'm here to support whatever is necessary. The questions you have, the challenges you're facing, how to reconnect with people is a challenge. But it's funny how I reached out to a few people I haven't talked to in a while, and we had some conversations, and it was really nice to reconnect with people. Maybe it was only 15 minutes, but others were certainly longer. So take some time, reach out to somebody that you haven't to in a long while, and see what happens when you start reaching back to people and reconnecting. And I think you'll find that very, very helpful. All right, folks, have a great weekend. We'll see you next Friday on Career Happy Hour. I wish you the best, and stay safe out there. And we'll see you soon. Bye now.